So even though the weather this Easter is definitely not the best, I'll try to do a quick garden tour to tell you a bit about the garden that I will try to show here on this channel. This is the front garden. It's very open at the moment. I hope on eventually to make more beds and make it a bit less open than it is today, but this is as it is at this moment. This has been one of the very big projects this year. In the fall, I put down a lot of plants and made this 2 beds alongside the house. Before this, it was 2 smaller beds with just a bit of blueberries and a little bit of plants in between, some mosari. But this will hopefully grow much larger during this spring and summer. And you can see that this side must get a little bit more sun or a little bit more warmth because the plants here are further along. They were actually also put in the ground earlier than the other one because we had a bit of a problem over here. We found out that we had like this this pipe that wasn't connected correctly, so we had to get help in to get that done. And here is our very old cat. He's about 15 years this year, but still going strong and a good partner here in the garden. Over here, the kids have their trampoline. It's never pretty in a garden, but it gives them a lot of joy. So it's there. It's their go-to place when we send them outside and they don't exactly know what to do. We have a little playhouse, swings, slide. Our oldest son has his hammock where he sometimes sleeps outside. He has been doing it a bit here because there has been an Easter holiday, so he has been allowed to try to sleep outside. A bit cold still, but he still thinks it's fun. We have this like woody feeling in this part of the garden. Most of this was there when we bought the house. We have cut a lot of it down because it was very, very overgrown. Down here I have been starting a bit of a woodland bed, hoping that it will come back this spring, summer time. This is actually one of the parts of the garden that I want to tackle next on. Down here you can see that the bottom of the house isn't very well. All of this needs to be chipped off and made from new, so I have to move the plants anyway, and therefore I wish to make a larger bed with more flowers and less wood chips and so on. So that will be the next like really big project in the garden, I think. Maybe I will take some of these bushes that are actually blackcurrant and put them over here to make the trampoline less visible from outside the garden. So maybe they will get moved there possibly this fall. This was actually the first bed I made in the garden. Before this, there were a lot of trees here. There were big pines and also this, which is a sort of cherry, but it's a bit bitter, so we don't use them very much. But it gets pretty flowers in the spring. I started planting here like the little mini rhododendron, as you can see, but I made a lot of beginner mistakes and I thought I would have a very different expression in this bit. I have redone it a few times, not this fall, but the fall before then. I dug up most of the plants, rearranged them, bought some new, and hopefully I'll see the result more this summer. We have had very much rain this year, and therefore I'm a bit nervous that some of the newer plants might not have made it. So I'm following up almost every day to see what have survived, what might haven't. What I can see is that many of my tulips that are actually not very old have had damage from all of the damp. They haven't had enough frost this winter, and they have been sitting in water way too much. So some of them I think I need to dig up, because I'm afraid that whatever, maybe fungus or what they have gotten, they might infect some of the others if I don't, even though it hurts me, because I was so very, very much looking forward to having a lot of tulips this spring again. It was my pride and joy last spring to have many, many tulips and daffodils in this bed. But yeah, we'll see. Some of them have to come up, I think. Then we can move on over here. This is an apple tree. It's a tree I got as a Christmas present from my sister a few years ago. Last year we actually had a lot of apple on it, but also had these spinning caterpillars on it. So I'm a bit nervous this year if I'm able to keep them away or how it will work out. I'm not much into using poison in the garden, but also don't want to lose the tree. Over here I have my bench and this beautiful tree that I don't know what it's called, but it gets the most beautiful white flowers in spring. They smell really nice. Here I also have a lot of tulips. They seem to have done much better than the ones in the bed before. They haven't been sitting in as much water. I also have these small native blueberry bushes. Their blueberries are very small, but they are native to Denmark, so I have them here. I also have some larger blueberry bushes that are the American blueberries. From there we can move through this path. I have this with a climbing rose on each side. I also tried to have clematis, but they didn't work out, so maybe I'll try a different species, or I'll just have the roses instead. From there, this is elderflower trees. They were in the garden when we bought the house. The same with this very, very large rhododendron that flowers in spring. Here I have raspberry bushes. Some of them are on the way with new shoots. These small stones have been gifted to me from my mother. I think it's fun when you have a garden with children that there are a bit of adventure to walk around and see what you can find of different things in the garden. And these, I think, is a fun gimmick to do so. So from there we sway round. The little teepee construction is from a teepee I made with my youngest yesterday, so it's still there but without the cover on. Here I have a little bit with more reddish colored plants and white daffodils on their way. And down is the rain pouring, as you can see in this little water bath. and with the helleborus that I really love at this time of year, where you need to see that the flowers are still on their way. So here are some of the wood from some of all the trees that we have cut down, because we needed to make some space for the remaining trees to actually become bigger and prettier and healthier. Around this little garden house here, I'll show it from a longer distance in a moment, but here I also have a climbing rose, and here I have my rhubarb, and I love rhubarb cake, rhubarb juice, so we have a lot of rhubarb here. Over here I have a little bit for growing peas and carrots and so on, and down here I have all my strawberries protected from all the birds that love to eat them before us. Here is a little seating area. The big log isn't supposed to be there, but I haven't been able to move it on my own, so it will be lying there until I'm able to saw it into smaller pieces. If we back up a bit, is the garden house. This was also in the garden when we bought the house. We actually thought we wanted to take it down right after we bought the house. We thought we were never going to sit in a house like this drinking coffee like the owner before, and we haven't. We don't really have the time, but I actually use it to have like all my gardening equipment, and I think it's a cute space. So as long as it's still holding on, some of the boards aren't too healthy, then it's there, and maybe in time it can be an orangery instead. This is most of the garden. In time I hope to make like more garden rooms and paths, but as it is right now, this is what I have to work with. Trying to take out all the big pieces of wood to chip in more of this compost space, so it's actually more usable than it is right now. It's quite a task, but it'll be good in the end, I guess. This is definitely not the most fun, and it's not the most sexy or pretty gardening work to be done, but I believe that it's necessary this year to turn around the compost. There's no way around it. We have a lot of garden disposal every year, and it's nice to have a place to put it away, so we don't have to drive everything away from the garden. And then I hope that some of this compost will do good in the beds later on, but no way around it. Just need to keep on shoveling. With a garden like this, you don't need a gym. that is a job well done for now. Of course, this isn't the prettiest part of the garden, and there is still some work to do with weeds and so on, but I think it was a good job to get done. It's all piled up in here, ready to compost further, so it might be useful in the garden further on. The last thing I think I'll be able to get done today is take some of these small seedlings and put them in larger containers, because they are outgrowing the small ones. So I'll just try to get that done before dinner's ready. My youngest has just helped me put some fertilizer in the garden, and my husband is making dinner, so let's see if I can manage to get this done today too. I'll just try if I can film this also, what I'm doing here. So it's not something that I have a lot of experience with, but I'll just try and see how it goes. I'll pick these up. Oh, that's a nice long root on this one. I'll put it down, push it down a bit, because I think that this one is a bit long and skinny, and I think it's because it's very early in spring, so it might not have had enough warmth and sun. So I'll just try to fill it with a bit more soil to see if I can give it some strength to stand up a bit better. I'm not sure that it's the best thing. I have also left a few that I have just put down as it has grown on its own, but hopefully this won't ruin it. So I have tried one very close down here, and some like this, more long, and then I'll see what works. So this one needs to go in again, this one, and this one. So that was the first seedlings done for today. And that, I think, was a day in my garden. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you found it fun and interesting with the garden tour and a few jobs done through the weekend. I hope to see you back for my next video, and then I'll see you soon.